Okay, and now we're going to move on to part 3 of my collection of my first LeapPad books, and cartridges as well. Now, this next book that came out at the same time as JJ the Jet Plane High Flying Adventures, unlike JJ the Jet Plane High Flying Adventures, this next book is seen on advertisements at the end of books sometimes, and here it is right there. This is called Thomas and Friends, Thomas and the School Trip. This one came out at the same time as JJ the Jet Plane High Flying Adventures in July or August of 2002. Around the same time as the DVD releases of Cranky Bugs, Embraces, Rescues, and Runaways, and Best of Percy came out. What's interesting about this book is Robin Smith does everything in this book. He does the narration, props, directions, and games, and on top of all that, he also does the voices of the trains and Sir Topham Hatt. Now this one is my most favorite book. This is a new copy I got. The old copy is missing a couple pages, and I got the old copy, and I believe in 2003 along with Leap's Big Day. Either 2003 or early 2004. And that was the story side. Now here is the activity side. And I believe this was the last book released in 2002. The next books after that came out in 2003. And here's the advertisement for other My First LeapPad books. And this is also part of the Discovery line, with that orange oval right there. Alright, this next book is in an extremely rare set of line, an extremely rare line that has never been used. And this one is called Tad Silly Writing Fair with the green oval, reading preschool writing. Julie Stevens does the narration, props, directions, and games in this book, even though Christian Crawford would still tell you to touch the green go circle with your pen. This book came out, I believe, in February or March of 2003, maybe even April 2003. And that was the story side, and here's the activity side. I got this book recently. This was one of the books I never got before until recently. However, I do have a book that contains an excerpt for it at the end of Vroom Vroom on the Go, which I'll show you in part 4, I believe. Now, interestingly, normally Once Upon a Rhyme would be seen on there, but in this book, there's an advertisement for Thomas and the School Trip in place of Once Upon a Rhyme. And here's the cartridge for Tadsley Rank there. And did I show you Thomas and the School Trip? I think I might not, but here it is. Alright. Here's the next book. This one's in the reading line. And this is called Bob the Builder. Bob Saves the Porcupines. In this book, Michael Mendelsohn does the narration, props, directions, and games. And this came out in May or June of 2003. Of course, that's just my educated guess, by the way. And that was the story side, and here's the activity side. Although Michael Mendelsohn does the narration, props, directions, and games, in this book, although Michael Mendelsohn does the narration, props, directions, and games in this book, Christian Crawford would say bye-bye when you turn the player off. And Michael Mendelsohn also does the voice of Leap, Tad, and Lily's dad. This one, Once Upon a Rhyme, is back. But it shows a different version of Leap to the Moon. And the last book I'll show you for part 3 is Two Princess Tales. I think I got this in 2005. Bob Saves the Porcupines, I think I got in 2004. And also, for Bob the Builder, I am not really a big fan of Bob the Builder. I really don't like that weird claymation they used in Bob Saves the Porcupine. But between this and Thomas the Tank Engine, I'd say Thomas the Tank Engine is much, much, much better than Bob the Builder. Anyway, back to Disney Two Princess Tales. Bob Ayers does the narration, props, directions, and games in this book. Oh, and Thomas and the School Trip, Robin Smith does say bye-bye. So in Disney Princess Tales, Bob Ayers says bye-bye when you turn it off. Interestingly. And that was the story side. Now, and that was Belle's story. Now we're going into Jasmine's story.
What's your name? So,
and here are the advertisements for other books. Oh, and here's the cartridge for Bob Saves the Porcupines. And here's the cartridge for Two Princess Tales. Okay, now we're going to move on to part 4, which is hopefully the final part.